Welcome to my YouTube channel Crime Lurker, a place where we explore real crime stories, unsolved mysteries, and gripping accounts shared by individuals from around the world. Every story here is based on real events, detailed accounts, and first-hand experiences. Our goal is to present these stories with respect, accuracy, and responsibility. Some are chilling, some are heartbreaking, and others remain unexplained to this day. Join us as we uncover the truth behind the crimes, mysteries, and strange events that continue to captivate and disturb. Start. The attic groaned as Penny pushed open the heavy wooden door. A cloud of dust erupted around her feet, forcing a harsh cough from her throat. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of mildew, forgotten memories, and something else, something burnt. Boxes were stacked carelessly, leaning against broken furniture, torn lampshades, and a mannequin dressed in a decaying black dress. Penny stood at the threshold, staring into the gloom, questioning why she was even doing this. She wasn't here because she wanted to be. Her grandmother had insisted that her birth certificate was hidden somewhere up here. Here, in a yellow shoebox, among the few things that survived the fire all those years ago. Penny sighed. It felt absurd that a simple piece of paper could tie her to an identity she barely remembered. Her life before the fire had always felt like a distant blur, like a dream she could never fully grasp. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe she didn't want to remember. As she moved forward, her foot caught on something hard. Looking down, she saw an old doll, half buried beneath a pile of linen. Its plastic face was warped, eyes glazed, the mouth twisted into what almost looked like a cruel smile. Penny shuddered. She recognized it. It had been hers. A part of her long-lost childhood. A chill prickled at her skin, but she shook it off. Focus. Penny. Just find the box and get out. Every step deeper into the attic felt heavier, like the air itself was resisting her presence. Memories buzzed at the edge of her consciousness. Flashes of laughter, shadows of arguments, echoes of something darker she couldn't fully place. Finally, her eyes caught sight of it, a faded yellow shoebox sitting precariously on the highest shelf, squeezed between a shattered clock and an old sewing kit. Her heart thudded in her chest as she reached for it. Sitting cross-legged on the dusty floor, she pulled the lid off the box. A strange mixture of dread and curiosity flooded her veins. Inside were fragments of a childhood she had spent years trying to forget. The first thing she noticed was a drawing. Childish lines scrawled with crayon, two figures standing under a crooked sun. One was clearly herself, drawn with stick limbs and long braids. The other was her governess. A tall, severe figure in a long black dress, hair pulled tight, a large silver cross hanging from her neck. The memories rushed in before she could stop them. One was clearly herself, drawn with stick limbs and long braids. The other was her governess. A tall, severe figure in a long black dress, hair pulled tight, a large silver cross hanging from her neck. The memories rushed in before she could stop them. The governess. Always present. Always watching. More than a caretaker, yet less than family. Penny remembered her cold hands fixing her hair into tight braids, the way she hummed strange melodies under her breath. Songs that didn't sound like lullabies, but something older, something eerie. They spent hours together, playing games, reading stories, but even in those innocent moments, there had been an odd tension. A presence. She set the drawing aside and pulled out a Polaroid photo. At first glance, it seemed meaningless. Just a shot of the kitchen floor, yellowed linoleum cracked at the edges. But the longer she stared, the more wrong it felt. In the corner, barely visible, was a shadow. A dark figure, almost human-shaped, standing just outside the frame. No face. No details. Just there. Her breath caught as she flipped the photo over. Scrawled in faded child handwriting were the words, "Don't look behind." Her blood ran cold. The urge to glance over her shoulder surged like electricity in her spine, but she gripped the box tighter, forcing herself to stay still. The attic felt suddenly colder, as though something unseen was moving just outside her line of sight. In scribbled pencil were the words P13, G0. A scorecard. Penny laughed bitterly. She remembered now. This was from the endless games of hide-and-seek with the governess. Penny always hid. The governess always sought. And she never once remembered the governess hiding. Not once. But with that memory came another. One she wished hadn't resurfaced. She was 6 years old. It had been a normal afternoon, or at least what passed for normal in her household. Her mother was unpredictable, sometimes loving, often cruel, especially when the bottles piled up and the ashtrays overflowed. That day, the governess suddenly suggested a game. Hide somewhere good, Penny. Somewhere. Very good. Her tone was different.
Urgent.
Strange. Penny remembered crawling into the kitchen cabinet, the smell of old oil and dust suffocating. She crouched, knees hugged to her chest, as footsteps thundered through the apartment. Her mother had come home. Drunk. Angry. Screaming her name. Her voice was slurred but filled with venom. Penny held her breath, praying not to be found. She peeked through the tiny crack in the cabinet door. Her mother stormed into the kitchen, cigarette dangling, eyes wild. Penny trembled as her mother stomped closer, kicking furniture aside, muttering curses. Then suddenly, silence. Except, there was someone else. A shape. Tall. Wrong. A figure stood just beyond the doorway, half in shadow. Its limbs seemed too long, its head tilted at an unnatural angle. Standing beside it was the governess, smiling, whispering something Penny couldn't hear. Then came the sound. A horrible thud, followed by something breaking. Then, nothing. Silence. The kind of silence that's heavier than noise. Penny stayed in that cabinet for what felt like hours, until the apartment fell still. When she finally emerged, the house was empty. No sign of her mother. Only a strange dark stain on the floor where the linoleum had warped, like it had been burned. But there had been no fire. Had there? Back in the attic, Penny's hands trembled as she picked up the final object. A key. Rusted. Heavy. Attached to it was a faded tag with one word scribbled on it, basement. Her heart raced. She had never seen the basement door unlocked. Her grandmother always warned her away from it. Said it was dangerous. Said it was unsafe. As Penny stared at the key, a sudden whisper tickled her ear. A voice she hadn't heard in decades. Penny, come find me. Her head snapped up. No one was there. But the shadows in the attic had shifted. Moved. Watched. Her pulse thundered. She knew deep down. The truth of her past wasn't in this box. It wasn't in the attic. It was down there. In the basement. Locked away. Forgotten. But not gone. Never gone. She stood slowly, the floorboards creaking beneath her. The air felt heavier. The temperature dropped. And as she approached the attic door, key clutched tightly in her hand, Penny understood one terrible truth. Some memories don't stay buried. Some things survive the fire. Some wait. And as she stepped down the stairs, the voice returned. Closer this time. Penny, I never stopped looking. And just like that, the story fades into the shadows. But the questions remain. Was justice ever served? Or is the real horror still out there? This is not just a story, it's a warning. Subscribe for more real tales of crime, mystery, and the unexplained. See you in the next case.